If you're into supercars, chances are you'll have come across GVE London. The Uxbridge based business has gathered a huge following on social media thanks to its behind the scenes podcasts and viral videos. The supercar dealer is based on the outskirts of London in a huge unit packed with an array of Lamborghinis, Ferraris and its fair share of hypercars. I was invited along to get a look behind the scenes and meet the team that sells to the rich and famous. Sales Director George Gehdu started with a tour of the showroom.
Well, thank you very much for having us. I mean, straight off the bat, two amazing cars here. I mean, let's start with the Enzo. It is my favourite supercar of all time. Tell me a little bit about this one. How did you come by it?
So it's a good client of ours who bought and sold a lot of his collection through us, and this was pre-COVID. I think around 2019 he decided he was going to relocate and move to Dubai, and sold us his Bugatti Veyron at the time and 3 or 4 other cars. I think there was like a collector's MP412C and 360 Challenge for Dali and a Scuderia, and then alongside it I had to really chew his ear off to get access to the Enzo, and it still belongs to him. He still owns the car. However, at the time was very close to allowing us to purchase the car off him. So we're about to do a combo deal. We bought the Veyron off him at the time, which isn't this one, it was another one. And he decided on the very last day of the deal happening that no, I'm going to keep the Enzo. And do you know what? It's the most sensible decision anyone could have made at the time, because 2019, I think we valued the car at about 1.8 million. And today, if you were to buy this car on the market, it'd be worth just shy of 4 million.
Really, they've reached that level, £4 million. Am I right in thinking this has got some F1 pedigree as well, isn't it?
It does, yeah. So this has got a straight pipe race exhaust, an F1 race exhaust from Maranello factory. So this client actually, he's quite particular and meticulous with the car as well. He only allows Maranello factory to service the car. So they'll send a lorry down and get the car sent out there by air freight, and only serviced by Maranello for the last, well, it hasn't been serviced in the last couple of years, but for the last 10 to 15 years, everything's been carried out, all the remedial works at the factory. So it's got a massive file with it, and the Classiche certification backs up for that as well. Special
car. On the other side, Bugatti Veyron. I mean, this for a lot of people is just the ultimate, isn't it? But I mean, I'm looking at the price in comparison. I mean, it's a bit of a bargain, isn't it?
I think so. I think for a modern day hypercar, it's you're sort of limited with what you think you'd put your money into. So you want something where you have the astronomical heights and appreciation like the F40s have seen and the Enzos have seen. And you're thinking, what's the next car that's going to do that? Because you look at the likes of the Pagani's, look at the likes of the Koenigseggs, the ones that have really gone up and shot, they've already made that massive jump. And the Veyrons are still yet to do that. So I think now that we're seeing the market so dry in terms of nice collectible Veyrons online, we're starting to see a price increase on them. So had this been about 2 years ago, this very model with only 500 miles on it would have been priced at 1.1, close to 1 million. And I know that because we had a black and red Veyron, a two-tone Veyron with only 300 miles on the clock. And back then we sold it for 1.15 mil to a collector who's actually taken the car out to the Far East with him. Just since then, I was thinking that is quite undervalued, considering that this was one of the first road-going hypercars to hit the speeds that it was hitting, and the first car to cost in excess of £1 million from factory. Actually, they were making a loss on these cars from new as well. Yeah. And I think the reason they hadn't jumped up so much in price was the maintenance costs. Now, you're looking at your annual servicing, well, with tyres and wheels when it comes to the every second or third year, this car could be costing you about the best part of £50,000 a year to maintain.
Right, let's have a little look around the rest of the showroom. Thank you. So, I mean, George, tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, you've become a little bit of a social media sensation, haven't you? I mean, I follow quite a lot of your Instagram stuff, and
thank you.
You're obviously very well versed when it comes to talking about these cars. Was that something you did before you ended up doing this?
It's a funny story, actually. So my entry into the supercar world was GVE, and I was actually at law school and decided to start working at GVE part-time about 12 years ago now. And then I just loved cars. I always loved cars. And I think with sales as well, it takes a particular sort of character. You have to be a sociable person. You have to be someone who connects with people, and you're able to read people in a way. So I think my background from there came from my dad in a way. So he used to run radio stations and he was a TV presenter, and he was quite iconic in the Asian social front. So I kind of got that bit of talking to people and wanting to be on TV a bit from his side. And I think that's where I've kind of combined both things together with what I'm doing today. So the social media aspect is something that I think is a no-brainer when it comes to selling luxury items, and it's quite a special way for us to sell cars. I think if people are spending this sort of money, they want to show to other people that I've just worked really hard and I've managed to go and buy this F8 that belongs to so-and-so. Why can't I show off about it? And I think if we can then go and incorporate that on our social media standing and say, hold on a second, you can let the world know and shout about your successes, that's a good way to do it.
I've seen on social media you have a lot of very diverse customers. I see you selling to musicians and footballers. Perhaps you could just tell me about some of the people that you've met during running this business and selling these cars.
Yeah, it was an interesting bunch of people you do come across. So obviously you get your usuals, your business owners, and then the celebrity side of things I think sort of picked up with, it was a bit of an ambition of ours, and I was thinking we want to start dealing with footballers because David and I are both into football quite a bit, and we're thinking it'd be quite cool if we could start dealing directly to Premier League footballers. And then from word of mouth, you end up going through to rappers and singers and so on, who end up watching this Premier League footballer crowd. And then it's just word of mouth to influencers, and without name dropping too much, but yeah, we've sold to some pretty big people on the music scene, some world-class football players and influencers as well who are doing really well worldwide.
Give me some ideas of some of the highlights of the cars that you've sold over the time, and what deals really stick out in your mind?
I think for me, it's funny you asked this actually because I was only asked this question the other day, but for me the deals that really stand out are the ones where you feel a connection with the buyer. So it's not, don't get me wrong, the profit in a deal is always a nice thing as well, so those are going to stand out, but the ones that really jump out to you is someone who's looking for a particular sort of car, and you almost feel a sense of pride that, okay, I've managed to find that car for you.
GVE works hard to make its cars stand out. If you've ever dreamt of owning a supercar and searched for one online, chances are you'll have come across its unmistakable gold pictures.
I think here, I was like, this is quite an iconic part of GVE, isn't it? I mean, I've seen it many times on your social media, I've seen it all on your adverts. I mean, talk to me a little bit about why you kind of came up with this sort of concept, this kind of gold concept for the stage. I mean, perhaps Nigel can just turn around and show the Porsche that we've got there and we can go on and explain it.
Yeah, so firstly, standing on the branding, I think with the gold wall, it's quite important when you come to try and advertise cars that you're going to be scrolling through Auto Trader and you're going to be thinking, what cars stand out to me?
Yeah.
And we've heard it so many times now, and people think as soon as I see the gold wall behind it, I think GVE. And you look at competitors and you see them picturing their cars, and I think you need something iconic. You need something that will make your car stand out to the rest. So one point is trying to win people's trust and thinking, I'm spending a lot of money over here, I want to make sure I'm buying from a reputable brand. Once you've done that, that's very hard to do. But once you've done that, then it's how do you speed up that process for people to be flicking through Auto Trader, and let's say you're looking for a GT2 RS and there's 10 others to choose from. That person shouldn't have to think and scroll through every advert. He should be like, okay, that's the gold background, that's GVE. A lot of people don't know this actually, but so much work goes into just picturing the car alone.
Yeah.
They'll think, okay, why do you have to take the car out, drive it to the side and maybe reverse it in the next time and take pictures? Why can't you just move the camera all the way around and take pictures like that? So they're quite particular with how the pictures are taken because the lights are shining on them in a certain angle. They need to show the lines correctly. So prior to us having the turntable, we'd have to have someone dedicated standing by the car to turn the car around 3 or 4 or 5 times, and that would take 2 hours. So we invested in the turntable to allow it to be a lot more of an easier experience as to turn the car around and allow pictures to be taken quicker, and then incorporated that with our handovers. So I think you guys may have seen a couple of videos where we've done some big handovers and we've thrown some parties where we'll put the cover on there, take the cover off, and the car sort of spinning on the turntable with smoke and whole fanfare and the crowd going on behind. So all of that together is makes for quite a nice experience.
Yeah, a bit of drama. I mean, tell me a little bit about your sort of selling technique. I mean, selling these sorts of cars, the sort of people you have to deal with, is different, isn't it, to selling everyday run-of-the-mill vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think a sale is always a sale. So whether you're dealing with someone who's buying a £5,000 car, which, to be honest, I haven't experienced that, but whether you're dealing with someone who's paying that sort of money for a car or dealing with someone who's paying a couple of £1,000,000 for a car, you should still give them the same service. And I think, as an example of that, I've dealt with people who, let's say, were buying a £50,000 car, which is sort of the lower end for us. And then you treat them with respect, and you treat them with almost the sense that, listen, you want to build a relationship with them. It's not just a case of, I'm here to take your money and never speak to you again. I want to make sure that you're buying a really good example. And when you come to sell that example, you're not going to think of anyone else apart from me. When you want to buy your next car, you're going to be coming back to me. So you can't really have that relationship with someone unless you go above and beyond. And I think that's what we like to do over here. And in particular, if you're asking me for my selling style, it's building a relationship could be having to meet them outside of work, treat them almost as a friend, but at the same time have that professional limit there where if they want advice, necessarily don't need to be buying the car from me, but they're thinking, I'm about to spec my GT3 RS, what do you think I should go for? You'd be surprised the amount of phone calls I'll get, and I'll have some people sitting next to me thinking, why most of your time gets taken up like that and you're not making any money with it, why? And the answer behind that is it's all about relationships.
George, I think perfect opportunity for you to pick a car that you want to show us and tell us about. I mean, there's so much in here to choose from. Is there anything that really I should know about that's in here?
Do you know, while we're standing here, I thought it'd be quite good to look at the GT2 RS.
A beautiful car.
So this is actually quite a good example of what GVE is about. Now, this car I actually bought and sold this car from the very first person who owned it. And he sold it to us, who's actually an ex-Le Mans Porsche racing driver. And we then sold it to a good client who still owns a car at the moment, but decided that he wanted to completely spec the car himself without the ability of being able to buy one brand new. So this car originally came in full black with black and grey interior. None of the yellow bits on there whatsoever. So the RS in yellow, the yellow on the outlines of the wheels weren't in yellow. So we PPS'd the whole car, which was GVE Detailing getting involved. And then the body shop guys got involved by respraying some of the bits in yellow with contrast. And then we redid the whole interior. So all the yellow Alcantara and the yellow stripes on the center PDK console, the yellow dials,
oh, wow.
The yellow sports chrono clock, the yellow stitch on the dash, the yellow stitch on the door cards, and even the really fine details, like you can find the Weissach RS branding packs on the headrest. All of that had to be hand stitched into the car to the customer's request. I mean, if the customer wants it, that's what we'll do. I think it's sort of in a way worked against him because now he's come to sell it. Everyone's like, we want factory spec. But it was a good example to try and show that anything you want done, it gets done in-house.
During this series, we've been chatting to lots of car dealers who sell supercars, and some will say that their customers are the most demanding people on the planet. Others will say they're very free with their money and very happy to buy. How have you found the people you're selling to? Are they really demanding, or are they just, they know the car, they're happy, they trust you and they pay for it?
I think you get a mix of both. You can have some people who just blindly buy over the phone because you've dealt with them several times. In fact, I've got a good story. He's one of my really good friends now, but the very first car he bought, he's from Glasgow. It was when the FFs just came out. He bought a Ferrari FF and it was just over 200,000 at the time. And just did the deal over the phone. And it was the very first car he bought from us. I said, okay, I'll send a video over to you. And he's like, I said it would be a £10,000 deposit. He's like, yeah, send the details over. Sent the details over, and just within a couple of minutes, the full balance of the car's in, not even the £10,000. So got the car sent to him, and within a couple of days, he took delivery of the car and he hated it. Didn't like the FF whatsoever. It was his very first Ferrari. He had a whole load of Porsches, had a whole load of McLarens and a whole load of other cars, but just his very first Ferrari. And I just said to him, I was like, listen, I can't let your first experience with Ferrari be this bad. And he was like, just please take it off me. I don't like the car. I don't like how dated it is, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, got him out of that and then managed to put him into, I think it was a 488 after that. Put him into a 488. And since then, this guy blindly, I say blindly, I use that term loosely because he does it with trust, but will just carry on buying cars based on what I think will suit him. So it was interesting to know the very first car he made the decision on to buy the FF, that's what he wanted. And then after that, sort of knowing his character, every single time he buys a car, he just takes advice thinking, you know what I like, just go for it. And I think we're on about 8 or 9 cars now, 7 years later.
Amazing. Nice to have that sort of relationship, isn't it? I mean, so talking of special cars, I mean, we obviously chatted about a few of them, but the one that's really caught my eye is that Lexus LFA over there in the corner.
Yeah, so the car belongs to a really good client of ours, actually a friend of the business as well. And he bought the car from abroad after taking some advice from us saying whether he thinks it's going to be an investment piece, whether it will go up. So since he's bought the car, he's actually never used it. It's come straight to us. And yeah, it's been sat in the showroom. So I think price-wise, you may compare it on the market and think this is excessively priced, but there's nothing to compare it to. This is the only right-hand drive example that's up for sale in the UK. And then there are other examples that are up for sale which are in the Far East, but bearing in mind, those aren't taxes paid. So if you compare it to the global market, this is actually priced correct. And obviously with it being a right-hand drive car, there's hardly any of these around.
£1 million for one of these. I mean, because what were these new? They were 400?
Yeah, about under £500,000.
Yeah. So how old is this car?
2012.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. So is it a vehicle that you like? Is it one that you personally buy?
If I'm being honest with you, no. I don't personally see the value behind this. When you're spending the best part of £1 million, I can think of so many other cars to get. But I can see why someone would want this in their collection. As a V10, you can't really think of other cars that are probably going to sound as good as this, value retention wise as well. I mean, if you look at the appreciation aspect of this, like you were saying, for £500,000 now to be priced at £1 million, there's a lack of other cars out there that you think you could do that with. And as a collector's item, I don't think, I come across these cars all the time. I don't think I've ever seen a car that's as rare to find on the road as this. So I can see why people will put their money into this, but for me personally, I'd probably choose other cars before this.
Customers are basically at the heart of everything in Man Island.
It's a well-worn phrase to say we're a people business, but that's exactly what we are. We all care and want to get things over the line for you as a dealership.
Although it's a very fast-paced, pressurised environment, we have fun.
You know, we're very friendly, we're very welcoming, but we're also very professional as well. You know, we like to get the job done.
Our relationship with Man Island has been centric to us doubling our finance business over the last 12 months.
So Man Island are quite unique in that we're a prime bank-owned lender, but we also work with a variety of other finance partners to give up the all-round package.
As we've grown as a lender, we're now on market with the products that we have, hire purchase, PCP, lease purchase, etc.
We're agile, we're resilient, always forward thinking in anything we do. We always want to provide our customers with the best possible user experience.
You know, we don't want to be the biggest in the market, we just want to be the best in the market. And that really for me is all about the people relationships that we have with our clients, whether they're dealers, brokers or indeed the end user.
It's not all glitz and glamour though. Selling supercars can also be rather stressful. GVE owner David Rai sat down with me to talk about how he built the business, as well as some of the headaches he's experienced along the way.
It was a big shock to the system coming into the industry, thinking that, okay, you just buy a unit, you stick some cars in and people will come and buy it because it's advertised in Auto Trade. That was not the case. So over time, we done the Canary Wharf Motor Show for 2 years. We started attending Goodwood Festival of Speed, recent times Salon Privé, and then just getting more familiar with the regular customers. So not only were they seeing us on Auto Trader, but they were also seeing us on at all these shows. It is not as easy as just, you might have a 765 LT Spider and decide that you want to dabble in some supercars and put it in your showroom. But I think the point is that the consumer is a lot more savvy. They want to know that actually if it's outside of its 3-year manufacturer's warranty, that if I buy from that dealership, are they going to be able to take care of me if something goes wrong on this car? And as we know, when they go wrong, they can go really wrong. It was quite a shock to the system when you're about to sell a Ferrari and suddenly the engine light comes on. It was F430. This was my first instance of experiencing this, but we were selling at F430. Engine light comes on. It's meant to be going out in the next 2 or 3 days. And so then you're panicking You have to send it to Ferrari, main dealer. They take a look at it. The car's got £15,000 profit, and suddenly now that £15,000 is turned into £10,000 because of a £5,000 bill from Ferrari. When that suddenly starts happening very regularly, you're in a big problem if you don't have your own service centre. So that's how GVE started evolving, that we then opened up a service centre. Us focusing on supercars has only been 10 years. We've entered a market in which the big boys have been around for 30 to 40 years. So it's been an accelerated learning curve. And yeah, I'd say we've had to learn some lessons a really harsh way.
Do you find it stressful?
It's a walk in the park, really. No, I do find it very stressful. One of the biggest pains for a business like ours is the consumer rights, right? I get it. We need to make sure that we're taking care of the consumer. We need to make sure that the cars that we're selling them are good quality. However, we do a check when the car comes in our service center to make sure that everything is good. We do a check once again before it leaves. And then, you know, the nature of the beast is that you send that car out and a couple of weeks later, sorry, my engine lights come on, or, you know, whatever. It could be anything. And I'd say that's the most problematic part. As a dealer, the courts always favour the consumer. I'd say always, most of the time. I've never experienced the courts favouring us. And so you have to really accommodate for those kind of things.
GVE has expanded thanks to a sale or return strategy. More than 80% of the cars it stocks are not owned by the business, but by customers allowing the dealer to sell them on their behalf.
A few years ago, I invested in a McLaren P1, a 675 Spider, two 675 Spiders at the same time. We were anticipating that these things would have around £500,000 worth of profit across the three. I'd say 5 months later, we sold all three and were thanking our lucky stars that the loss was around 100 grand. So if you can imagine £600,000 across three cars from where we thought we would sell it to where we ended up selling it. And then thereafter, I decided that why are we doing this when we could switch up the model of the business so that we don't speculate and we make it the best platform for people to sell their cars through. So there's always been a bit of a negative connotation with SOR and selling on behalf of people, and we've had a few dealers fire those shots, so to speak. I don't take any offense to it. I'm actually very proud of the fact that people use us as a platform to sell their cars through. We've got one of the largest social media presences in the automotive space in the world for supercars, right? We get 2.5 million views every week. Our follower, we're growing by nearly 1,500 followers a day, anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 followers a day across all of the different platforms. So it makes sense that we sell on behalf of people, take a commission, and if the price comes down, we're not so exposed to it. I'd say stock seller return could be anywhere around 85%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of the business.
Huge.
Later, I asked George to take me out for a spin so we could chat about his favourite cars to sell and his technique. He found an unassuming Mercedes 6x6 to potter around the London roads for our chat.
What do you love about this job? I mean, you've clearly got a passion for it. I mean, what's the bit that you enjoy the most?
So I think it's evolved over time, where it's initially it was always a case of I love cars, so I just wanted to get, I had a burning desire in me where I wanted to get that car in stock, or I had an ambition to sell that car that's just come into stock. And I think now over time, because after a while you're surrounded by this so much that you almost become oblivious to it, Now the desire for me is the deal.
Obviously, this Mercedes is a little bit unusual and probably slightly different to your normal stock, but what sort of cars would you just buy over and over again? What really do you know will always sell?
So at the moment, someone asked me this question not long ago, and the car came straight to mind. It's an SVJ. Right now, if someone were to offer an SVJ, they'd be getting £100,000 more than I'd be paying for it a year ago. And the reason being is that a lot of them are either off the road, a lot of them have been sent abroad, and we've been responsible for that, which has sort of created this fabricated market where the prices have inflated massively.
What are you looking forward to, if anything?
I'm not looking forward to the electric stuff, that's for sure. I think that the whole connection of a natural combustion engine and just that pure excitement of still feeling the vibration and still having that connection with an engine, I don't want that to go.
I noticed in the showroom you haven't got any electric cars. I mean, that sounds like it's been a conscious decision.
Yeah, I think, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to have cars that sell really well, and we do have electric cars at times. So you look at the likes of Taycans, they've dropped in value so much that they are a good buy in today's market. But would we consciously go out there to buy one? I'd say no.
Are there any cars you wouldn't buy?
For what reason?
Well, is there anything you steer clear of for unreliability, or it just doesn't sell? I mean, anything in the current market that you just, if someone offers it to you, it's a no?
So at the moment, we would say absolutely no to an MP412C McLaren. And
why?
Pretty much 650s, because great cars, they've sold really well for us, but unfortunately they're just riddled with issues. And something like a 12C, McLaren would make their customers wait up to 6 or 7 months while they're trying to manufacture a part for that car. And I've had it in an instance where we just had to refund the customer's money because his 12C was sat at the McLaren dealership for 8 months. Nothing's happening. McLaren weren't helping, and we were just stuck, sort of pushed against the wall, thinking, what can we do? We just have to put you into another car. So yeah, and I think I'd get it if it was just a one-off, but this pretty much happens with every 12C out there. And McLarens are great cars, but they're not great cars if they're not being used. So if you find a really low mileage example of a 12C, you're guaranteed to be buying that with problems.
From the outside, it often looks like the world of selling supercars is all champagne and caviar. But having spent some time chatting to the GVE team, it's clear they suffer from the same issues all car dealers do. Used cars sometimes go wrong, but when the screen prices are well into 6 figures, those problems can be all the more painful to fix. GVE operates a very different model to most of the supercar dealers we've visited in this series. They're not afraid to sell cars on a sale or return basis, and while some in the trade might sneer at them for doing so, they're working hard at making it a success. For more videos like this one, check out the Selling Supercars playlist on our channel and make sure you subscribe to get notifications of our latest uploads.